Hi everyone, it's Louise with Louise McKay, and I am nearing the days where I won't be pouring here anymore in California. I'll be in transit to North Carolina. Just got an email from my builder saying that they're looking at maybe 3 weeks out. Of course, that means 4 or 5, so, you know. But I've already started packing, and I'm halfway scrambled in my brain as far as what I'm doing. But I still want to paint in the meantime. And also, while I'm painting, I need to downsize my paints. So one of the things I have in mind today, and I don't know if I'm even going to air this because I have no idea how it's going to turn out because I've had utter failures with this so far. What I want to do today is a transfer swipe bloom. And I've seen people do it, and I'll list the people that I've been looking at below. But some of these artists are amazing, and it's like, oh my god, it looks so simple, but when you go to actually do it, it's not. So I want to use up some of my bloom paints that I have left over. I've got my iridescent bronze, this brilliant green by Amsterdam brilliant green, a liquid Texas Payne's gray, and then a 24 karat gold. And these are mixed with my bloom recipe, which is min wax with the base 3 by Glidden, I think it is. I'll list it all below. And my pillow I'm going to use today is also by Glidden. It's this guy. You probably can't read it anymore, but it's base 1 GLN 6211N satin. And there's a little bit of GAC 800 in here, but not so much anymore. So I'm going to, let me show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to lower the camera down for a second. I'm going to do a swipe on here, and I'm going to try to transfer it to a 12 by 12 canvas. That's the plan. And I'm going to use this as my palette knife. And I have it on my spinner so I can move it around as I swipe. Probably have a lot of nerve even trying this, because I'm just not that experienced yet. But sometimes you got to swim in the deep end a little bit to know that you can swim, right? So that's what I'm going to try to do here. All right, everybody, I'm going to double time through this part because I want to save you guys some time. I'm currently at 25 minutes and need to shave some more off. And this is the mundane part anyway, just laying down the pillow. So basically, laying down the Glidden pillow in normal fashion. Going to smack out the tile a little bit, hopefully without cracking it, to get the air bubbles out. And then I'm going to lay down my colors. So you'll see. I don't need to go into all the details about that. So first in the lineup here is the Payne's Gray, and I'm just really trying to burn through some of this paint. And then next I'm going to be laying down the bronze, and then the brilliant green, and then the gold. So here I'm just doing a dry run of how I intend to move the palette knife through the paint. And then I'm going to load up the palette knife with some black cell activator and then white on top of that. So the white will be the first cell activator down on the canvas. So I want to share something that I learned right here. Right there where I pick up the palette knife, I should have kept going all the way through where I first laid down the palette knife, because there's so much extra cell activator at the beginning of that swipe. I never can get the colors to come through even when I blow with a straw. So the next time I'm going to do this, I'm going to make sure I run the palette knife through my colors and then around back through the top of the cell activator at the beginning. So the purpose of this pour is not to create necessarily the next Rembrandt. I'm just using up leftover paints. the point of this is to try to get the technique down. After all, this color combination wouldn't be my first choice to pursue here. Okay, so let's pour the base. Just want to get the feel down. I want to get that technique down. I mean, I don't know if you guys do this, but I often will just play with leftover paints just to see what happens. All right, so here it is. Certainly nothing to write home about, but don't know what I'm gonna get. So let me start with the least attractive part. So there's some cardstock, just mailers that you get. And let's go that's really big. I think I'll go with a smaller one. I'm going to tip it a little bit as I load this. Okay. I will note here that okay was actually a celebration because I've been doing this now for several tries and never got it to lay so good until this one right here. So here's another learning. So right there, right here, where I'm going through the little swoop up, I need to have a different color pillow where I do my swipe, or a different color base that I'm pouring the swipe onto, because you can't differentiate from the pillow from the swipe from the pillow from the base. And with the differentiated color, it'll make the ribbon stand out even more and look like it's floating. Yes, I need a different color base coat. I need a different color on this base if I'm going to go on white. Yes, I've learned something. So I'm keeping this portion on real time so you can see how slowly and methodically I'm laying down that swipe. I like this one. So because I'm getting the feel of this down, I do a few more just to get the rhythm into my muscle memory. I don't know if you noticed this before, but one of the things I've been doing is lifting up on the tile to get the paint to kind of flow down into the cardstock. So it's right here where I can illustrate the point I just made about the underside. Where when I swoop up right there, you can differentiate the pillow from the other swipe below it. And it makes it stand out. I hope that makes sense. I'm trying to explain it as best I can. So I know I've literally run out of space, but I had that extra swipe paint and I didn't want to waste it, especially since I was getting in a rhythm here. So I'm just doing more for practice. So because I had so much of the pillow left over on the tile that I swiped on, I decided to use that as my float paint over the edges of the canvas. And I might skip ahead here. God, I really don't want to waste this paint. So let's spin it to stretch it and see what emerges. Way too much paint, which I know. All right, everybody, at this point I'm still at 30 minutes into the video editing, so I've got to double time through a good portion of this. You can see what I'm doing, and needless to say, what started out as a Bloom Technique swipe transfer turned into something quite different by the end. And I don't know how many times through the process here I almost scraped it all off and started over. But sometimes you just have to see things through and see what happens, because I was quite surprised at the end how this person emerged within the painting. So I think I'm just going to cut out some of this portion here. You don't need to see me spinning left and right. That white section is what I'm trying to get off, and I'll just skip ahead to where I'm making a decision point. I cannot make up my mind. I mean, it's really pretty. So after a good long while, at least 10 minutes of staring at this, it's almost like it cast a spell on me. I decided I'm going to add some blooms. So I went from being in a complete practice mode to now actually trying to create something from this. So for the remainder of the video, I don't just add one bloom, I end up adding multiple blooms. And I'm going to skip ahead a little bit because you don't need to see me doing this over and over again. You'll get the idea. And because of the blooms that I'm adding are so small, I end up just doing the blowout with a straw on most of them. So all this while, that idea of an eye has been just gripping me. And so now I decide to put a pupil in it and make it come to life. All right, everybody, so this is where I'm going to call it a wrap. And I am absolutely captivated by this woman that emerged from this canvas. So after she dried, I added a little bit of shadowing around the eye, and that was all. Hope you enjoyed the video. You don't know what you're going to get. Take care, and don't forget to subscribe.